This is the format for today. 5 pitches. Each startup will have 5 minutes. They'll then have 10 minutes of feedback, clarification questions from the judges. Once we've heard all 5, I'll go into a breakout room with the judges and leave you to hear a talk from another one of our previous accelerator participants, Tuck. They've raised, I think it was 850,000. So you'll hear about their journey and quite a remarkable story about how they managed to secure that latest round of investment. We've also got a poll, so we'd like the audience to tell us who you think should be the overall winner. And then when all of that's done, we'll come back, announce the winner, and a few closing remarks. So very straightforward. I'm going to stop sharing now and hand over to Pete to go first. So if you could share your screen, Pete, and start your pitch.
Amazing, thank you. So, hi, my name's Pete, and I'm a chocolatier. I've been a chocolatier for 15 years, and I started my initial business with £100, teaching myself chocolate making using some online videos and some books I found in a charity shop. The aim originally was to create an experiential shopping experience to bring the theatre of the chocolatier to the high street, and I scaled this to 3 stores. In that time, though, I've discovered that the chocolate industry is actually incredibly wasteful, and for the last 200 years, we've been taking the seeds from the cacao fruit to make chocolate and throwing the rest away. It's equivalent to taking the seeds out of an orange and then throwing the orange away. That equates to over 10 million metric tons of discarded fruit annually. This either rots, producing methane, or is burnt, producing carbon. Both are bad for the environment. So what's the solution? So I've developed a cacao fruit juice drink called Cacao Quench, made from the discarded pulp and juice of the pod. It's a challenger brand for coconut water. It's got very similar health benefits, but also benefits the welfare of the environment as well as the farmers who are receiving additional money for something that is usually discarded. So 14 years ago, Vita Coco started selling coconut water. At the time, it wasn't a very well-known brand or a well-known product. Today, they're now a $250 million turnover brands and still growing. That's what's possible at scale with the right support, but this is my current route to market. So I have currently 150 Midlands-based independent stockists ready to take my first test run that I've built a relationship with over the last 15 years. My main national chocolate supplier, Keylink, have over 500 chocolate shops on their books, and they're in a position to become the first distributor for me, as this is an ideal product for chocolate shops to have in the summer months. Once we have some traction with sales and proving the market, my next step would be somewhere larger like Holland & Barrett, Whole Foods or Waitrose. So this route is projected to be a turnover of just over 4 million by year 5. With an EBITDA of just over 1.1 million. And this is when I'd be looking for a possible brand sale to exit. To achieve this, I'm raising $250,000 using the SEIS advanced assurance that I already have in place. This money is split over 2 phases. So 50,000 is for the proof of concept, creating the lab tested recipe, the branding, the trademarking, test run of 4,000 units, sampling and test sales through my current network. The proof of concept stage is also offering double equity to the early adopters, and I'm currently at 26,000 of this target. And then the next step is the additional 200,000, which is to increase production to 80,000 units with an increased marketing and distribution spend. So thank you. And any questions?
So I'm going to go to each of the 5 investors for clarification questions or any points. But before you do that, would you mind just giving yourself a brief intro as well? So Ed, could you go first, please?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Ed, SFC Capital. We're an early stage SEIS and EIS fund. We invest sort of anywhere up to about 100 to 300K. We don't specialize in a sector. We don't specialize in a stage. So, very generalist with our approach. I'm pretty active, so I tend to do around 100 investments a year, and then about 30 follow-on investments every year into the portfolio through a follow-on fund that we have as capacity. And yeah, we have a big network of other investors, an angel network, other funds that we work with, and also including the British Business Bank, who are an investor partner through their regional angels program, which is fantastic. So yeah, that's sort of us in a nutshell. Great to be here, and really good first pitch, Peter. So where are you getting the materials from then?
Ecuador currently.
Ecuador, yeah, nice. And have you done any sort of runs with it yet?
I'm selling it in my stores at the moment.
So you're selling it already?
Yeah, it's not bottled and branded up. It's just in a cup at the minute over ice. So It's been doing that for the last few months.
Okay, nice, great. And so what was your background?
I'm bartender by trade, but chocolatier for the last 15 years.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Anyone else on the team with you?
Yeah, I've got my team at Coco More, which is in-house where we've been doing the development. And then I've got some people, advisors and investors for distribution, warehousing, kind of specialisms. All the skill sets that I'm not very good at, I've kind of plugged those holes.
Great. Good stuff. Thanks.
Thanks, Ed. Could we go to Sam Tubb next, please?
Yeah, hi all. Samantha Tubb. I'm an active angel investor. I've been doing it for about the last 15 years or so. I have a portfolio of about 20 companies and work closely with a small handful of those. Pete, I've seen your presentation a couple of times before, so I should declare that. By far the best I've seen you do it, right? And very polished, and you've clearly taken a lot of the feedback, not specifically from me, but from people who you've presented to. So you kind of really nailed some of the questions around the financials and kind of where you've got to versus kind of previous decks. So I thought it was really really polished and quite a sort of different experience listening to it. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
On my side, can I just explore a little bit more around the kind of supply chain? So at the moment you're getting it from Ecuador. What risks do you see to that sort of supply chain of the flesh of the fruit, and what are your kind of backup plans? How over time would that work?
Sure. So the biggest chocolate company on the planet, Calabo, have set up a subsidiary company called Cabose, and that is the factory in Ecuador. So it's very, very well backed by the biggest chocolate company on the planet currently. Although there is only one factory, which concerns me a little bit, I've reached out within my network. I've got contacts in Colombia, Cameroon, Ghana. So I feel this process should be adopted across cocoa plantations all over the world to start reducing this food waste. So it's currently one factory at the moment, but the scalability of it is there. And I'm already reaching out to my contacts to try and create my own supply chain, as well as the big one from the Belgian company.
Okay, great. And I didn't pick, because you clicked over the finances relatively quickly. Remind me of the margin. It's fine. Remind me of the margin on this for you after you've taken all pieces, including your distribution piece out of it.
Yeah, so EBITDA is 1.1 for year 5, and that's based on a turnover of 4 million. It's costing me currently just me making these samples for people to try is 136 a bottle. When I do the 4,000 units, that comes down to 86p a bottle. And then economies of scale with that 80,000 units, we save about another 30-40% on that as well in production costs. Mm-hmm. So it's economies of scale. Our retail point's around £3 a bottle currently, but that will come down as well as with economies of scale and as demand grows for it.
Right, thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Could we go to Hannah next, please?
Sure. I guess just as a little bit of an intro, my name is Hannah Tapsell-Chapman, and I am an investor at Mercia Ventures. My focus is on our kind of early stage ventures team. So that's investments up to kind of 3-4 million in the Midlands. I should also say, as Sam has said too, I have seen this pitch before, but good to hear it again, Pete. My question is around, the planned routes to market. So how you're looking to get this product out there, and just kind of how, I guess, what expertise do you or the team have in these channels?
So the low-hanging fruit for me is my contacts already over the last few years. These people will take it from me. I need to show some traction in the market before I start knocking on the doors of the larger distributors and supermarkets and things. I've got a call on Tuesday with Manchester Drinks about looking at scaling and going through their network as well. So when it starts to get to a certain level, it's going to be outside of my skill set. So I need to bring some people in then that have more experience with that. But at the moment, I think the next 2 years, like the scale with those 150 plus that 500 through my distributor, that's 650 potential stockists already.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Those.
We'll go to Jim Shirley next, please.
Thanks, Sam. Well done, Pete. Just introduce myself. So, Jim Shirley from Funding Hero. We help founders understand how to fundraise for high growth companies. We run a online platform for self-education, and also run a high growth fundraising accelerator in Birmingham. And my background is a CFO, 20 years, going through 2 high growth scale up exits. I've also done some angel investing into a tech venture studio, which has a large portfolio of 30, and also into a few other smaller tech companies as well. Thanks for that, Pete. Really, really good.
Thanks, Jim.
I think it's a very, very interesting space, because from your background, your last 15 years has kind of prepped you for this now. So I think the chance for this to kind of really scale is quite exciting. You've kind of learned a lot of the mistakes and the things that work. So I can see you in a really good space to kind of scale this. I think the interesting piece with it, it's quite a punchy price point. Obviously, £3, it's that kind of the more premium end of it. As you start to push this out into the different channels, where do you see your blended kind of like price being over time and that average margin? I might have missed some of this stuff. I got thrown into a breakout room, I think, as Sam asked my first question. But I'm just interested, because as you start to get into some of those bigger retailers, there's massive price compression. So that's going to have a real big impact as you start to scale.
Yeah, I mean, the price point for me, it's an expensive product to bring in because nobody's really working with it. But I see it as being a very similar route to market as coconut water. Originally, that was quite pricey, and now it's part of your meal deal. That took about 14 years to get there. And there's no secret recipe with the coconut water market. If you do enough Google searching, you find exactly how they went to market with it in every step of the way. And it's almost copy that, but because it's laid out for you, we can do it much quicker and much cleaner. But eventually, I see that I want it to be part of your meal deal. I want everybody to be having it, because one, it tastes nice. 2, it's good for you. 3, you've got all the benefits of like feeling like you're doing something good for the planet, because you are. The farmers get more money. So the more we sell, the cheaper we can make it. And I can bring that price point right down then and make it really accessible for people, just the same as coconut water is today. Okay.
And from an operational point of view, how far ahead are you in terms of actually like capacity to produce? So, if you kind of have a good first year and then, a big deal comes along, how far forward are you with your production?
I'm outsourcing all of the production. So we've got the factories, and it's like we're kind of springboarding from one to the other. Once we reach capacity with them, they pass us on to the next ones where the margin improves again. Then you go to high speed bottling, but they have all the contacts for that to help me scale as we need to.
Okay, fantastic. So have you got a rough feel for what kind of volume you can get to with the current supply chain?
And the current one here locally is 80,000 units on a time. And then above that, they would like scale it to the next one, and then the next one.
Brilliant.
And hopefully exit by that point.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
I forgot to thank you as well, Jim, for the use of the Funding Hero platform, the accelerator participants. The feedback was great. So thanks for that.
No,
Ray, I think you're back in the room. I think we've put you in a breakout room. Apologies for that. Any feedback
I
for?
did wonder if I'd been a bit naughty or something. So, hi. So I'm Ray Harris. I'm a director in the private equity team at Foresight. We look after a number of funds from kind of VCTs doing sort of 5 to 10 million down to early stage investments doing 250,000. In terms of the pitch, look, I think we've actually met before. I think I've been out to see your business, Coco Amore, because that was one of the Midlands Engine startup loan, I think, recipients, wasn't it? So well done on that one.
6 years ago. Thank you.
Yep. So yeah, interesting pitch, interesting product. I guess I've got a number of things in our portfolio that are FMCG. FMCG is really hard work. And kind of not to be underestimated. It's good you've got your sourcing sorted, which is fantastic. I guess it's going to be a heavy product because it's got kind of liquid in it. So making sure that you've got control of your distribution costs is going to be key, I guess. In terms of a couple of things, though, one you kind of mentioned health benefits. Those, if you're making claims, whether it be kind of nutritional claims or health claims, you do need to have to prove those, I think, in terms of a number of and that costs money. And I was similarly kind of looking at another products the other day that the cost of getting that kind of proof or those tests done is actually quite substantial. Is that something that you've thought about, understand?
It's already done.
Is it?
Because
Okay.
I'm buying the juice in, and to get past the EU and American FSA and FDA approval, I've got like a 300-page document with all of this data, which backs up everything. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. That's good. That's one big hurdle then. And in terms of the next issue that kind of the typical businesses in your situation faces is the actual securing the distribution. You mentioned you've got, was it Keylink and kind of 150 stockits in region. Have you got, how firm is that? Is that something that you could roll out relatively quickly?
Yeah, I mean, these are people that I know personally. So they're lots of independent brands. When I originally knew them, they might have only had one store. Some of them now have scaled to 3. So it's quite low-hanging fruit to get in with all those small independents. Obviously, there won't be huge volume. It might be a case or 2 a week here for each of them. Keylink is quite a firm distributor. There's another one down in Dorset who's potential. I do a lot of dealings with, and they've got a lot of coffee shops and cruise ships and restaurants and things on their books. Yeah. So
okay. We've got an investment in a chain of coffee shops as well. So happy to introduce you at some point. And I guess, again, another observation, once you start getting into the multiples, and I think you mentioned Hollett and Barrett and Waitrose, I mean, the lead times on those are astronomical. Even to get a slot in a range review is kind of 6 to 9 to 12 months ahead, and then they pull the rug out from you at the last minute and kick it on a whole year. So so it's just kind of making sure that that to me is kind of it's great volumes, but actually it's a long way away. Anywhere where you can kind of get much quicker access to market via anything that's non-supermarket or kind of non-big chain is a real plus for an investor. Certainly one who's invested in a number of FMCG things. We almost kind of look, if you've got supermarkets as your target market, that's kind of like a big no-no at the minute. And actually we prefer much smaller local independent outlets.
Supermarkets for me that's more the end game when I'm looking to exit and let somebody else scale it dramatically.
And the thing about the supermarkets is it's huge volumes, but the marketing support costs that they require of you are astronomical. And you might I'm pleased that you're not targeting that and kind of going another route. So but I thought it's a really interesting product. So
thanks so much, Ray. Amazing. Next up we have Katie.
So hi everyone, I'm Katie and my business is MotiMe, and I want to start by introducing you to someone very special to me. This is my little cousin Ellery, and he practices physiotherapy for 3 hours a day. That's 21 hours a week, and that's because he's got cerebral palsy. For many children like Ellery, physiotherapy is an essential part of their daily routine to achieve their developmental milestones. However, for many children, regular physio is not always possible, and this is due to the long wait times for appointments, the high costs involved, and limited support for physio at home, and this leads to many children not achieving their full potential. So at MotiMe, we're bridging the gap between the physiotherapy centre and the home environment. So we've created a product that transforms a child's physio journey, and we do this by providing parents with the correct equipment they need to practice exercises at home with their child. And we're doing this so that it's really fun and engaging and exciting for both the child and the family. So our product adapts to the child's specific condition, and it grows with the child as they progress and develop. And this provides tracking for the child's progress, as well as guidance for the physio and for the parent. So MotiMe is the first product to support physio at home for children and for families. Our product works by supporting and guiding the children so that they can achieve their full physical potential. And we do this in a really fun way. Our product improves communication with the parent and the healthcare professionals, which helps with the physio journey, and it saves time and costs for healthcare services and for the parents. So we've got a really big potential here with MotiMe, but we're going to start by targeting the 350,000 children in the UK with limited dexterity and limited mobility. And we're really proud to say that today we've supported over 100 children at over 20 different organisations in the UK, one being Alder Hey Children's Hospital. And they've recently conducted a case study with one of their patients and proven that MotiMe has had a positive effect on the child with their physiotherapy. So when we get to market, we're looking at attending events such as disability exhibitions and school events to reach parents. We're also looking at partnering with different charities and organisations such as the NHS. We're also advertising already online through micro-influencers and brand ambassadors such as Paralympians. And we're already bringing different organisations on board with our journey so that when we have the product launch, we can go direct to them and reach parents. So on the market, there are sensory toys available on Amazon or Smith's Toys. However, they don't target physiotherapy and they don't support the parents at home through the physio journey. But there's also sport equipment such as Blaze Pods. However, again, this doesn't target children and it doesn't target physiotherapy specifically. So we're looking at selling at £450 per unit, and this gives us a potential revenue of 157.5 million. So in 2024, our aim is to get 100 units out to early adopters for parents and households. Then 2025, we're expanding to hospitals, physios and special needs schools. 2026, we're reaching the global market, and 2027, we're looking at a wider rehabilitation market, such as those for elderly or a more mature market in rehabilitation. This is our team. We've got a developer and an engineer on board and multiple mentors, including a physiotherapist. And to date, we've submitted our patent application. We've had over 50k in funding. We're on our way for medical device classification. We've got over 2,000 subscribers and a really good traction. So we're in a good position to reach those early adopters. And we've also got big potential to expand our range in the future. So today we're seeking 100k, and this will help us to sell 100 units in 2024 and to prepare for 2025 when we want to reach mass manufacture. And this will help us to create our app, get the product out there and launched, and reach our early adopters. Thank you very much for listening, and look forward to answering any questions.
Could I go to Hannah first, please?
Sure. I should just say, for some reason, my internet connection conked out for part of that. So apologies if the question I asked has already been answered, but there were a couple of things I wanted to clarify. First of all, great presentation. Thank you for that. You mentioned the positive outcome from one particular case study. Do you have data from a kind of multi-patient, broader study that kind of validates the kind of efficacy of this?
Yes, so Alder Hey Children's Hospital have actually put together a case study for us. So I've got that available as a document I can share. And they're actually continuing it as well. So far they've done it with one patient. They've been testing with lots of patients, but they've focused on one with a case study. And they're now continuing to expand that. So over the next few months, we'll actually have more data on that.
And do you have an indication from, just looking at the various routes to market? My understanding is it's kind of households first and then more broadly. But do you have any criteria from kind of purchasers on how much patient data they'd need to see? Because obviously the NHS makes, has certain criteria for making these decisions. So what do you know the milestones of validation they need from their side to be able to make these decisions?
Yes. So, well, what we're trying to do is right now we're trying to connect with the hospitals early on. So that's one of the reasons why we're having conversation with Alder Hey. We're also having conversation with Sheffield Children's Hospital and Oxford Children's Hospital. So if we involve them in our testing now, then all we'll need to do is sort of get to the person who is in charge of buying and making purchases through the NHS. So our plan is to secure these case studies and then be able to use those and say to the hospital, well, you've used one, it's proven positive outcomes for the child. Can you pass us on to the decision maker where they purchase products for the hospital?
Yeah, understood. I definitely think it's worth asking these questions. Like, my advice would definitely be to ask these questions at an early point, so that you can you have the time and the opportunity to kind of collect the data that they want, because often can be really strict criteria on what they want to see. There might be data around kind of safety, how well they work, and also the kind of health economics piece. So actually, is the price point right for them, and kind of data that they might need to see, because it's all well and good doing like a trial, but to actually roll this out and scale it up, they might have particular criteria. So I think it's definitely worth asking those questions now, so you guys have the time to get the answers.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. Go to Ray next, please.
Yeah, well done. Good presentation. You did freeze in the middle of it, and there might have well been some things that you've covered that I kind of didn't hear. But in terms of the patent, you mentioned you got one. What is the patent on? What is it actually protecting? Because I can see the picture here. You've got kind of a mat and a device, but what is it that you're actually protecting?
Yes, so we've submitted the patent. So we've not officially secured it yet, but we've submitted it. So the patent that we're going for is the communication between a handheld device and external sensors, wherever that be the mat itself or individual spots that can be moved around, because that's another product we're looking at. But we have also conducted an IP audit as well, and we believe that we've got a good chance on that based on the IP audit that we had through.
Okay, so I mean, again, I didn't see the video because it was frozen at my end. So presumably the device changes color or something, and you match it up to the spot on the mat or something. Is that? Yeah. Okay. Right. I can see it now. Yeah. Thank you.
And we'll be incorporating different games and levels and different ways of implementing different exercises through the use of the mobile app. So the app is quite a big part of the product as well.
And is the app going to be? What data is it going to be collecting?
So at the moment, we're looking at time spent, number of colours matched. We're also looking at adding an accelerometer to the device so that it can detect actual movement ranges. And that's something we're having conversation with hospitals about, is what measurements do they take? So if this can be used to take data from a child each semester that they do their assessments, and they can see how far how much their flexibility is improved, for example, then that's the sort of data we're looking at.
Okay, good. And I guess my final question for you is in your charging model. So at the minute, you're proposing that people buy it for £450, whether that be parents or the NHS or Alder Hey Hospital or whatever. Have you considered a different model where you charge people £20 a month it costs you £80 within 4 months, you broke even, but you've then got an inherently much more valuable revenue stream, and one that, at £20 a month, kind of people can afford it. At 450, you might kind of find a bit more kind of difficulty with the sell. And I'm thinking from an investor point of view, an ongoing revenue stream is generally much more valuable than a one-off sale revenue stream. So.
Okay, brilliant. Well, so we're looking at a subscription model with the mobile app. So with the device itself, they'll get a free version of the mobile app, and what will happen is our next version of the app will be implementing different activities every month, different exercises, and using that data to find out which exercises are most popular, which have helped children the most. And that will be an added subscription with the mobile app. So they'll pay the initial upfront for the product itself, and then they'll have the subscription model with the app if they choose to.
I would consider doing the whole thing on a subscription basis if I were you. So it's certainly something to investigate, because that would seem to me to be hugely attractive to investors.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks,
Ray. Could we go to Ed next, please, and then Sam?
Thanks, Katie. Who else is on the team then with yourself?
So we've got a developer, Simon, who is doing their app at the moment for us. We've also got an engineer who's supported us more as a freelance role with the prototypes. Then we've got multiple mentors involved, including a physio, which is great. And our next hire, we're looking at sales and marketing as we get to that early adopter stage.
Remind me what your background is.
I'm an industrial designer.
Fantastic. Great. Good. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Sam, please.
Thanks. Thank you, Katie. Just a couple from me. So you were talking about route to market, and you talked about sort of events and partnerships. The three organisations that you are working with at the moment, how did you get in with each of them?
Yes, so those are a couple of the ones we're working with. We've actually worked with over 20 to date. But the way it sort of started was just either meeting them at events, or me simply finding out who's in charge, emailing them saying, hi, we've got a product that we're working on. We'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Then we'd set up an initial call. I'd send them a version 1 of the prototype. They'd try it out for a couple of months, send it back. We'd send them an updated version. So a lot of the organizations, so these on the left that we've got here, we've had a call with at least all of them, and a lot of them have actually already trialed a prototype, whether it be a very, very basic one from day one, or one of the more recent prototypes that we've got out now. And we've just built a relationship with them from there. Also, we've had people reach out online to us, also through Facebook pages, where I've put out there, we're looking to connect with different physios and different parents, and they've reached out and said, hey, we'd love to get involved. So that's how we sort of form quite a good relationship with a lot of them.
Okay, great, thanks. And the product itself in its kind of current form, is it single size, single weight for the item that you move around, or does that change depending on type of mobility, size of child? How does it talk to me a bit about the product itself?
Yes. So for our version 1, we're looking at 3D printing, because we're only producing 100 on a small scale. So with that, it will be more so one size. So what we've done is we've tested various handle shapes, various sizes, various weights. We've looked at current products out there, and we're creating ours based on the most suitable, or the average. When we hit the more mass manufacture market, what we would like is to have a mechanism where you can change the shape of the handle or the weight of the device, because some children do. It would be good if we could add weight to it so that it increases their muscle strength. So that will be version 2 when we hit a more of a mass market. But we are looking at, for example, a silicone sleeve. that can pop around the device. So you could buy different sleeves that maybe have different shaped handles, so that children can practice gripping and movement in different ways. But with the current device, the 2 handles is the most suitable because it encourages a child to use 2 hands in one go, as opposed to them just using their stronger arm.
Got you. Great, thank you. And then finally, I don't think you put it on there. What valuation are you raising at?
So we've currently valued the company at £750,000, and we would be looking, we're sort of happy to have a conversation, but we'd be looking at selling for 15% equity at £100,000.
Great, thank you. And just for the record, Ray's point about subscription, I 100% agree with.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks both. Your time to relax, Katie. Well done. Next up, we have Siteplex.
Afternoon, everyone. So my name is Mike Henderson. I'm co-founder of Siteplex, and we founded a business after pretty much 20 years in construction, experiencing a lot of the problems within construction software. So what is that? Let's have a look at the problems. So for the construction industry itself at the minute is worth over £380 billion. And at the minute, the sort of development in the tech world in construction is booming. So from robotic excavators, laser scanning, some really interesting developments. But when you look at it, so a lot of the construction market, there's over 920,000 SMEs and sole traders, and 80% of those lack digitization. And when it comes down to it, the actual crux of managing construction sites is still down to archaic paper-based systems. And within that, there's just countless hours of lost efficiency from transferring information from site, using out-of-date information because it's paper-based, and really slowing up decision-making and making the construction sector really inefficient. You've also got the other thing when you've got a lot of big major construction companies, tier 1 companies, which they implement their systems onto SMEs. And a lot of these are overcomplicated and really difficult for small companies to engage with. And ultimately, they're just not for site people. And when you do look at some of the available solutions, the key market for SMEs is that it's a construction-based solution as opposed to a tech product, and they need to be simple. But when you look at a lot of the solutions out there, they're just not hitting the mark. So the solution then, so our offering is a complete digital solution, which basically replaces all site paperwork and connects the SME functions within a business to the construction process, right from the back office through to actual boots on the ground. And when you actually break it down, so our solution is basically designed for site managers, the people really at the coalface. It also helps SMEs with a lot of burdensome accreditations, and it's within software for SMEs in the construction sector. It needs to be ease of use and ease of implementation. Our software also provides tangible cost savings, tangible time savings, and also it's the key crux there as well is that it's an adaptable software for business, which is often a blocker for construction firms to actually engage in software. So that's the solution. So over the last 12 months, we've done incredibly well. So from a user perspective, we've grown the business from 30 users to 161 users. In terms of ARR, annual recurring revenue, that's grown from 9,000 to 55k. And within our business itself, we've moved from that MVP, minimum viable product, through the early adopter phase, and now we've formed a good team with our own employee on the development side. Also looking at some of our successes. So one of the things that we're incredibly proud of is that being a finalist within the Tech Fest, which is one of the key awards within the construction sector for digital software. We've also managed to acquire a customer that builds a lot of the Aldi supermarkets and also warehouses, so a really great customer. And the big thing for myself is the fact that the testimonials and the early testimonials for our customers basically say that we do exactly what we say we do, in terms of we do exactly what it says on the tin ultimately. In terms of our growth plans, then, so within the next period, we're looking to grow up to 60 customers, and then by 2025, 170 customers, and that equates to just less than 0.1 of the market share for SMEs. In terms of user base, our aim is to get to 5.4 thousand customers, an average seat per customer of 31. AAR, we're looking to grow to 2.2 million revenue per customer. 2.2 million, sorry. And our EBITDA, we're looking to grow to 596,000. So in terms of our requirements to get there, we're looking for 250k investment. And where we're going to utilize that is a 90k in sales and marketing. But really what we're looking there is to focus on industry bodies, hit the industry bodies, look at the partnering up with accreditation companies, and also getting a multi-trade foothold, so a really good base across our market. In terms of investment on the tech side, we're looking at the roadmap and looking at a subcontractor module, which will bring in more custom, and obviously looking at the Android model. And then we've obviously got the customer support for onboarding and managing that churn rate to keep our customer, which actually our product is a very sticky product ultimately. So in terms of what you'll get in terms of your investment to help to deliver that and deliver a return, is you've got our team. We've got Matt Monroe, who's our CFO, Aaron Wardle, our CTO, and myself as a CEO. And really what you've got there is over 20 years, 25 years of business experience in our sector, to help deliver on our plans. So thanks for the time. If you're obviously interested, then I'll be welcoming all your questions.
Great, thanks, Mike. Right, we'll go to Sam first, please.
Thanks, Mike. I had a couple of interrelated questions to start with. The 161 users that you've got right now, what feedback have they given you to date? And the reason I ask is, what I really want to try and get into is why a site or why an SME or sole trader wouldn't use this product, because for me it seems like a complete no-brainer. What are the things that people are pushing back on as to why they wouldn't implement it?
In terms of why they wouldn't, I think, yeah. So the feedback is, they've initially met with a bit of resistance because they think, it will be overcomplicated. But I think the minute that they get it in their hands and they realise, how easy it is to use, then it's an easy sell from that point forward. But yeah, I think it looks, and when you talk to the decision makers in a construction business, they just look at it and think, oh, I've got all the work to implement, whole new processes and everything else. So it's really, the onboarding challenges, I think, that any business has within a construction sector. But I'm from that sector, so I understand that well, and that's the key thing that we try to focus on, to say, this is gonna save your FD work, this is gonna save your ops team a lot of work. And like I said about the testimonials, I know that if a lot of our customers, if I would take it away from like operational managers, they'd be having a hissy fit, thinking I've got to go back to such archaic ways of working.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So I've done a fair amount within the education space, and sort of moving from back office systems that are again heavily paper based into tech products over the last 10 years or so. And one of the key differences is whether people are moving from an existing platform. So I think you sort of talked about platforms that exist, but that are maybe tailored to the larger companies, versus needing to move from a non-existent tech platform, i.e. from the kind of complete paper-based. Of those SMEs that are in your kind of target, sort of in your sites, how many of them do you think use another system that's just not fit for purpose, versus those that don't use anything right now?
So I think, yeah, there is a broad mix. So some of them will be using an element of software, whether it just be to finance, but what they don't have, a lot of them don't have a complete system that brings it all together to help manage their business. Most companies will have an element of software, but it will just be managing, a very small part of what our software does. I.e., a good example would be like timesheet management. That's only a very small aspect of what our solution provides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super. And very last one from me. Apologies if I missed it. Price point?
So we're currently marketing at £30 per user. Per month, sorry.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. If we could go to Ed next, please.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you. How much have you spent on the product today then?
Matt, over to you.
Yeah.
So today,
about 200k.
Yeah, about 200k. Obviously, there's a lot of sweat capital that's gone in there. That's we probably haven't worked in the early days.
And how long have you been building it for?
So the first iteration of it, it's probably been, so basically, in honesty, we built it for a construction business we had first of all, and that was the proof of product. So that was over the course of say 2 years. And then really we've only been running as a marketed solution for just over 12 months.
12 months. Okay.
Yeah.
And have you raised any money today?
No.
First round, yeah. All been self-funded today.
Yes.
Great. And all co-founders on that side, everyone's sort of full-time?
Not currently, no.
But the plan is for them to be full-time?
Yeah, we've got full-time development, and the plan is to move, to so that we could be full-time within the business. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic, great. And how much of the raise is going on sort of further development? Sorry, you just say.
Say again. Sorry, what was that? Sorry.
How much is going on development? 80k.
80k.
Yeah.
All right. Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Well done.
Yeah. Perfect.
Thanks, Ed. Jim next, please.
Thanks, Sam. Can you just explain what are the core revenue streams, please? Is it purely subscription? Is it or?
Yeah, it's purely subscription. We kind of refrain from having an onboarding fee or consultancy fee because we thought that was a blocker for a lot of SMEs. But I think once we've got businesses on board, then I think there will be a revenue stream, a potential revenue stream around consultancy about efficiencies and stuff like that within their business. But yeah, we refrain from that at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, we're also exploring partnership arrangements as well with the likes of Chaz and people like that. Yeah, because the idea of the product that is that for SMEs off the shelf, they can get accredited to these bodies.
The accreditation bodies. So a lot of tier one construction companies they require small businesses to be accredited to a certain body, with Chaz and it is SSRP. It is, and then. So this is an off-the-shelf thing that actually, they can relatively easily get that accreditation.
Okay, so it's £30 per user per month, but then how much is it average per customer? So how many users per customer?
Current average is 32. But bear in mind we've only got 5 customers, so you can't read too much into that. But we think it's a pretty sensible benchmark.
Okay, so it's about £100 per month. Okay, and then. So what's the value that you're actually providing to them? So how much time and effort do you think you save them per month? Because I'm just trying to figure out, if you're undercutting the price of it here.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, obviously we wanted to get some traction in the market. And it is a constant. When you look at sort of competition, that might just fix one element of what our product fixes. So I think there will be time where some milestones that we'll get to where we'll have to review that price and the price point on it all. But I mean it's quite widespread, and it's we've got some case studies where we can demonstrate specific cost savings, but it depends on the business, if you like. But even if you just look at the fact that filing per job, per construction project, which one company might have 10 at any one point in time. The reduction of paper can be, it can be anything up to like £500 just for one project. So
it's hard to quantify, but I think we're kind of growing with confidence. So our early adopter was paying £12.50 a user, which we knew was really low, and then we went to 25, and we spoke to someone this week who we said 30, and they're just like, okay. So it's kind of creeping up a little bit as well.
Just to add to that as well, from the app perspective, the site managers, we've seen that they are on average spending around about 30 minutes a day being fully compliant with all their paperwork for the site. And traditionally, they would be filling out paperwork, maybe completing it in the evenings, and then working on the evenings, and it takes that delay to the back office. Now this is all real time as well, and time saving.
Okay, I think sorry, my internet broke up a little bit, but I suppose the crux of what I'm trying to get to is ultimately there's an average number you can probably save someone per month, and that's hopefully in the thousands. So you're trying to figure out what's that kind of value to price ratio you can create. It's going to be quite a cost intensive, expensive process to kind of acquire customers. So thinking, is it a 3 to 6 month timeline to acquire a customer, which might cost, a few £1,000s. So what's that cost to acquire? What's that lifetime value you get back from them? And obviously then it looks like it would be a very, very sticky product. So, hopefully we'll be with you for, 2 to 3 years. So if you can understand those kind of metrics a bit earlier, I think that'd be quite powerful, because it sounds like you can offer a huge amount of value. It's making sure you can extract that in the price as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Jim. And we'll go to Ray next, please.
Okay, thank you for that. In terms of the product itself, I guess, having kind of been an investor for quite a long time, there's generally lots of software products that go into kind of construction. I can think of kind of 2 or 3 historically in various portfolios. It's always a hard sell because kind of people are always kind of quite reluctant to pay over cost savings that they're kind of making. So number one, you've got to have an easy kind of call to action in terms of demonstrating that cost saving, and where it's just kind of notional time, it's kind of notoriously difficult. So the software products that generally have kind of worked in our experience have kind of main contractors have then forced them down, kind of forced usage in. You're kind of coming at it a slightly different way, aren't you? You're kind of coming at it bottom up in terms of that. So it is a kind of quite a fundamentally different route to market than ones I've seen historically. In terms, Jim kind of touched on it, your distribution model, how are you going to get enough sales over the line, even if they've got kind of a 3 or 6 month sales cycle with the cash you got? That I'm just wondering, is there another distribution model you consider where other people are selling this on your behalf while they're selling other products in? Is there a complementary distribution channel that you could use?
Yeah, that's why we're looking to try and partner up with an accreditation body, because, like I say, lots of construction companies have to go via them anyway. So if we can partner up with them, we're also looking to partner up with like industry bodies of various sectors as well. And that's where the SME businesses live. Like, I don't know, CIOB and the likes of that. You've got lots of construction businesses that are part of these groups and the various different trades. So we're gonna, that's where our target is. And you're right, it is definitely bottom up, but I think that that has a that gap is very, very big at the moment from the SME market to the tier 1 contractors, and so I think it's a really good market, and there's a lot to go at.
And in terms of on the tech side, so you obviously you mentioned you built this with one client in mind, and you're then kind of going, okay, now we'll roll it out, which is generally how a lot of products start. In terms of kind of the integrations that you need to do, presumably you've got to have an integration into main finance functions, but do you have to integrate into CAD/CAM systems, timesheet systems? But if people have got existing systems, is there a way for you have you got all that kind of integration done, or are there other ones that you need to develop, API links and stuff?
Yeah, there's definitely ones that we need to do around sort of Gantt chart planning and the like, so we're definitely looking at that. We've got fixes at the moment, we've got sort of CSV files and etc. But there's obviously a better, more seamless way of working. So yeah, that's kind of what one of what our roadmap is going to explore, and the various interactions, finance packages, that's the Sage and stuff like that will be down the line too.
Just to add to that, so on the roadmap next year, it wasn't on the slide, I think one of the initial integrations we're looking at is perhaps with API, just because we can do that integration once and it will talk to many applications. But then, yeah, it'll be, yeah, as Mike said, is fine tuning it into specific product we want it to integrate with. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. I mean, I'm just reiterating the point that finding the pricing point is hard on these types of things, and it will be different in each market, and the difficult bit is trying to work out which market is where. So, but yeah, well done. Great, got some good traction. Thanks
all. Right, in the interest of trying to keep this on time, thanks everyone. Thanks, Mike. Well done. Your turn to relax. We'll go to Ami Foods next. Joanna.
Hi investors, how are you all? I'm Joanna Chowdhury. I'm the founder of Ami Food.
Hi, I'm Rahel, co-founder of Ami Food.
So everyone here can decide what they want to eat for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Everyone except for babies. So babies have a crucial window of opportunities. And this is the first 1,000 days where their nutrition impacts the way they have their cognitive function and their development. But the problem here is that parents are too busy now. Parents are going to work due to the current economy, and parents are looking for quick alternative options, such as highly processed foods, also including foods that have chemicals and additives, that's the word. And plus, there's an unserved market of 338,000 parents with babies aged 0 to 4, who have a halal dietary requirement, because there is genuinely no option on the market other than one brand. And how do I know this? Well, I'm a parent, I'm a mother, I have a background in cognitive neuroscience, and I've been battling diabetes for my whole life. And due to this, I know more than my friends do because of my educational background. So this is why we need a solution. The solution being education and Ami Food. So Ami Food is baby food designed to support the child's growth and development using organic, nutritious ingredients backed by science. The baby food is flash frozen and delivered straight to the parent's door on a subscription-based model to save them time, save them the stress, and as a convenient method with flexibility. And additionally to that, we have an online community that offers them the education and the support.
The market. The baby food and milk market is currently worth 706 million. We're expecting that to rise to 746 million, which is a 5% CAGR growth rate, according to Mintel. In terms of the baby food market, it's currently worth 335 million. For other branded labels, that sits in at 24 million. We're expecting to take 6 million of this, which is 26% market share, over 4 years. So we're looking at gradual growth. In terms of our product, we've got our products ranging all the way from purees to textured. So we've got 13 different dishes. As you can see, that's the box and that's the exact pot that it is delivered in, and all our products are completely recyclable and reusable. In terms of the financials, we've broken it down over the next 4 years. So in year one, we're expected to sell 4,000 units and hit a revenue of 187,000, going all the way to 1.6 million in year 4, which would be at 35,000 units sold. So our growth is quite gradual. In terms of our cost of acquisition, at the moment we sit in very low at £2.90, because everything we've done to date over the last 5 months has been organic. So we haven't actually pushed at all in regards to the paid aspect. Our net profit margin sits in at 43%, and we have a lifetime value of £157. In terms of our business model, we're currently focused on the D2C space. So we are focusing on food for babies, toddlers, and obviously we will be developing snacks. We are also looking at the B2B aspect. In terms of the competitive scope, where do we sit? Ami Food sits alongside a number of other competitors. How do we differentiate? We are the only brand that is offering a science-led background. So this is where we are going to differentiate up against our competition. So other competitors are offering the halal aspect and obviously also the organic and community-led space. But obviously we are science-led. In terms of our milestones, we are operating and we've served over 100 bundles. So we've sold those. We've got 1,000 active subscribers on our email list. So they're communicating with us. We've reached 60,000 people in terms of audience, and we have exhibited at the NEC, which had an audience of 25,000 individuals. In terms of our customers, we've had real feedback from real parents, all the way through from parents who have autistic kids to passionate individuals who want to serve their kids the best food because they are the new generation of parents. In terms of our raise, we're looking for 250,000, breaking this down all the way through to R&D, working on increasing our product range, to our marketing, working with influencers, creating really powerful brand relationships, building a team from the HR aspect, bringing in content creators, etc., and really focusing on our logistics and operations. So providing a seamless process for our consumer from start to finish. And that's a breakdown of the costs that we're looking for. In terms of the team, you've got myself, who's got a background in food. You've got my co-founder, Jonah, who has a background in cognitive neuroscience. Collectively, we bring you 18 years of combined experience. We've worked with the following brands, including Starbucks, Chaiwala, a local coffee chain that's got over 69 franchises. So we believe that we have the perfect synergy because we're combining science and food.
Thank you.
And me food, thank you.
Any questions?
If we could go to Jim first, please.
Thank you. Well done, both. I had the pleasure of kind of seeing your presentation before and stuff, and have a real good feel for the pure amount of passion and energy you both bring into this. That's kind of really clear to see. What do you think are going to be your biggest challenges in the next 12 months in trying to just go to the next, piece of scale?
To be honest with you, I think we've created a strategy. So we've created our Q1 to Q4 strategy, and I feel as though really and truly it's just changing the consumer trends from getting them to believe that their standard process of going to the supermarket is not the way forward, and making them believe that the D2C is the way forward, because we're seeing a lot more D2C brands come forward. However, just getting customers to believe more, I feel like, is going to be the biggest challenge. But I think with the investment, we are going to be able to push forward.
Okay, fantastic. And what was the current gross margin you make on the product at the moment?
43%. So we've got quite a decent margin on the actual product.
Okay. And how do you plan to improve that over the next kind of 12 months?
So essentially, obviously, as economies of scale increases, because what we're going to do is, at the moment, we only purchase a limited amount of our, let's say, packaging, our products, etc. I've spoken to a number of our suppliers and we've built relationships to say we are going to go into investment, and they've given us very, very good rates in terms of our packaging all the way through to our raw goods, so our meats, etc., all the way through to our delivery, because delivery is currently logistically costing us the most. But we've worked with DPD, who is our current logistics partner, to bring our cost down by 42%. So we can do that once we bring in those orders.
Okay, so where does that roughly get your gross margin to afterwards?
So essentially, we start to hit the 62% point once we start to see that deduction.
Okay, that's much more viable in the long term. So cool. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim. We'll go to Hannah next, please.
Thanks both. I should also add, I saw you guys a couple of weeks ago. Great to hear again what you guys are up to. I guess my questions are around the team. So what skills do you think you're missing in the team right now? Or perhaps to word that slightly differently, like what additional skills do you think you'd benefit from adding over the next 12 months?
So essentially, we want to bring someone on that has the nutritional aspect in terms of experience. And let's say someone that has the ability to just almost assess the food and go, okay, we can develop our menu further because we've spoken to our customers and we understand that that's a need that they want. So we bring them in. And then at the same time, bring someone in who's got that thinking outside the box, innovative flair to create powerful content, because being in the D2C space, content is king. And obviously, with us being very unorthodox in our approach, we need someone that shares that same blood, that same drive.
Thank you. That makes complete sense. Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. Ray, next, please.
I probably need to declare a conflict of interest here because one of your competitors is actually one of our portfolio companies. So,
Oh,
no, that's fine. I mean, we like the space. That we think the halal space is a huge growth sector. So I think you're absolutely in a very good place. I guess my passion and energy kind of came across brilliant. Love it. Very good. I guess my questions for you. I mean, in terms of the subscription model, historically, that's in a lot of businesses, whether it be kind of, I think GoFresh or kind of those types of things, it's quite an expensive way to kind of, the cost of acquisition is really quite high with those businesses. And all of those where we've seen the business plans, they have huge upfront costs to do that. And then you kind of have to retain customers. So that will be a challenge, I suspect. It's an interesting model, not one. In terms of your manufacturing, do you do that yourselves?
Yeah, so currently at the moment we operate out of a dark kitchen. We have a chef and obviously a porter who actually produces the food, because we're working on a scale where we're very lean. So we're meeting demand based on the orders that we're getting, so we don't over exceed our costs.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is fantastic. I guess my observation to you, having been in this space for quite a long time, is that there will come a point, hopefully very quickly, where you need quite a lot more scale. Your manufacturing operations, getting a halal certified manufacturing operation and a halal certified ingredients chain is really very difficult. So I would spend a lot of time looking at that if I were you. But yeah, good luck with it, and I love the space.
Great. Just a quick one. Thank you so much for your feedback. We've had conversation with quite a few different manufacturers, because obviously we've tried to think ahead. They've given us a bit more limelight on how they'd be able to match our requirements in regards to what we're looking for specifically, in regards to obviously the supply chain and making everything sort of, let's say, halal through the process. So definitely an amazing recommendation, and it's something that we're looking into at the moment already.
Okay, good luck with it.
Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Ray. Go to Ed next, please.
I don't actually have any questions really. They've all been answered, the ones I had. So really good pitch, guys. Very well done.
Yeah,
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Great. And Sam, please.
Hey, thanks so much. Just a couple from me that haven't been picked up. The on the dishes themselves, you've got about 13 at the moment. Where do you want to get to? Like, what is a good sized range for you for this market, and who develops the recipes?
So we developed the recipe alongside a nutritionist. And the ideal range would be around 40 dishes on our menu, because that's what our competitors were doing. So currently we're sitting at 13. And what we are looking to do in the next phase is to bring on 5 dishes to see what our customers say, and then to use recipes that are very similar to rotate and to obviously save in cost as well.
Okay. And my other one is around, so it's frozen. So you produce, freeze, and then sell.
Yeah.
That's got to impact your delivery cost, both in terms of kind of packaging. How do you do that, and what is the delivery cost at the moment?
So essentially, we have to send the food out in an insulated pack with ice packs, which we've obviously tested and our customers are happy with. In regards to the cost, currently we're paying £9 for next day delivery, which is obviously collected directly from our kitchen, and then that's sent straight to the customer.
And average order sizes?
12 dishes up to 24, 48 dishes. They will vary. The average is around 12 dishes.
Which in money terms is how much?
£46.99. Yeah.
Okay, so people are on average paying £47 plus £9 of delivery. Okay, right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Well done, both. Your turn to relax. And that just leaves our last pitch from Andy and Vish. Circuleo, please.
So, hello. My name is Andy Flynn. I'm the CEO and founder of Circuleo Limited. And today I'm joined by my colleague and our CTO, Vishnu Paranthaman. We are a clean tech startup. Our mission: to eliminate single-use plastics whilst making it convenient and profitable for our consumers, profitable for businesses, and sustainable for the planet by leveraging digital technologies. The problem: well, single-use plastics are a global problem. It's been said that 56% of plastics have been produced since the year 2000, and only a small percent are being recycled. Current and future legislation is now primary to this. As we all know, plastic pollution causes high levels of CO2 and contamination of the ecosystem. We have to embrace the use of reusables, and this is very much in line with the global trends. 170 nations have now pledged to reduce single-use plastics by 2030. Existing solutions, they're complex, they're expensive, they're inconvenient, and the lack of customer engagement and also a lack of business-focused solutions. The solution, our solution, the Flow Center and platform. Our Flow Center is a physical service where we wash and resupply. Our digital service and tracks reusables from cradle to grave using our unique identifier. In addition to this, the flow platform is used by organisations to track their industrial packaging. It also provides reporting on their carbon footprint and is used in CSR and ESG reporting. So far, 150,000 transactions have gone through the platform, 3 tonnes of single-use plastics have been saved, and 10 tonnes of CO2 saved. This is our flow centre, where we wash our reusables, and at the client site where our smart bin technology is used to track the reusables after use. Our second solution is Agnostic, which is our customer web application. It's an engagement platform. No installation required. It's just a scanned QR code on your smartphone camera. This opens a web app to show the journey of the packaging, can connect brands with the end customer, and provides a gamified experience that can provide rewards to drive sustainable behaviour. This is an example of our QR code and our agnostic customizable usable identifiers. The market opportunity. Well, we've got 4 verticals: winter sports and leisures, such as football clubs; site solutions, such as universities and distribution centres; events and festivals; and ultimately retailers. We have deployments at Derby County football clubs, other pilots at Amazon, the University College London, music festivals, and industrial cleaning product suppliers, EcoX, based in Portugal. Our traction. We have more football clubs through the EFL Green Code scheme, more universities in the pipeline, and international brands such as Amazon, Toyota, and Live Nation. There's a huge global market for reusable packaging, and this is described in the package of so much of 75 billion in TAM and SAM. Our financial projections. Well, we're looking from revenue through to 2.5 million of turnover in year 5, 1.25 million in net profits with an EBITDA of 1.5 million in year 5. Circuleo, we don't have all the answers, but we're the one-stop solution in this reusable space, and a belief we are the answer. Our team, I'm the CEO and founder, used to scaling businesses. We have a strong qualified team and who are very technically strong, supported by experienced professionals in business development, marketing, and financial resource. Our ask. Well, we are SES and EIS eligible, have secured 100k of angel commitment, and are asking for a pre-seed raise of 500k, equivalent to 20% of the business. We'll be scaling up for our flow centre with those monies, developing our agnostic software and development, and recruiting additional talent to our growing team. Even since we produced this pitch deck, we've secured a contract with a usable packaging supplier to the City of London up to the value of £500,000, and have a 5-page spread as an article going through in a sustainable magazine that is going out to the East Midlands today. We really thank you for the opportunity, and we would welcome any questions.
We'll go to Hannah first, please.
I guess from my side, one thing that's on my mind, and this is a kind of more broader level conversation, but it's clearly a really important space in a market where there's a big problem that exists, and solution is very much needed both here in the UK and beyond. I see people attacking this problem from different angles, one of which being novel materials that offer things like compostable single-use plastics. So why do you think this is the right way to tackle this problem?
The compostable, we looked into space for a very long time. We did a lot of research, and a lot of articles are available around that. A lot of compostable, so-called compostable, they have to be again shipped back and decomposed in a controlled manner, and you need technology to do that. And now the EU regulation is coming really big on them. Whoever is claiming, my packaging is decomposable, you have to prove that you have to also show that how it can be decomposed. So there is a lot of debate going around in this space, and more regulation is going to, put in this particular decomposable packaging. So reusable, it's pretty much straightforward, right? Like we know that, okay, how many times you can use, and reusable packaging has been there for a very long time.
Thanks, Hannah. Ed, next, please.
Yeah, just remind me how the sort of monetization works.
Yeah, we have sort of what I class as three models. We have a reusable as a service, which is basically based on the wash, the rental, and the smart bins, which is based on volume. We have a platform as a service, which is based from £99 to £599, and that's dependent on size, volume, and feature requirements as a licensed model. But often they also have both as part of that scoping and the requirement as we've gone across the customers. And we also charge on a additional scoping and customization by project, which we successfully do at the part of the program and the adoption.
And the 500k contract you got coming up with London, what's that for?
Okay, so it's a reusable packaging supplier who deal with corporates in London who've got contracts, and we actually provide the wash and the technical services around that contract.
And that's all signed, is it?
Yep.
Congrats, great stuff.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Go to Sam next, please.
Hey, thanks, Randy. Really great to see that. And just on the, just help me a little bit. Is there a limit in terms of what you can recycle? I mean, clearly there is, but it's potentially other people's products. Do you also provide products?
Yeah, we're not a packaging supplier as such. We work with partners in that space, and we put our identifiers on all those containers, Sam, all those containers. But part of what we do with that is we have the ability to sit in the middle of that. So that's why we can rent out those containers. We put our tech on it. We drive the licensing model through it. So we're not a prime, as I say, organizer of this in that respect, but we sit very much in the middle of that process and make sure the customer engagement is correct.
And how do you do that? So when you say how do you put things onto the other people's recyclables?
So we have a lot of some of the key packaging manufacturers and suppliers in UK, like Circular and Co's and FSGs, and who are really big who has already got customer base in corporates, universities, and so on. So we partner with them. So we got the tech solution. So we partner with them. We attach our unique identifiers to those packaging and then give them a complete digital service. So in Derby, since there is no wash facility, at least in 30-mile radius, there is no wash facility around. So we set up our own wash facility and give them a full service. So it's like we give them a tech, a service. We give them also the wash and reverse logistics, and we provide the full service in Derby, in and around Derby. Yeah.
Go to Ray next, please.
Hi, thank you for that. I'm just kind of picking up on Sam's point, just kind of, so it's other people's products, and you say the tech you put on it, is that the QR code? The tech is the QR code, or is there another piece of tech that's yours?
It's the unique identifier. It can be a QR code, it can be an NFC tag. So it can be, so it's just that how a customer can engage with that packaging. So they can scan the QR code or just tap the NFC.
And might be a daft question. Does each cup, cups at Derby County, people having beers or coffees or whatever, is that the same QR code, or is each individual one different, and then you're tracking different assets?
Yeah, they're all unique. And when you scan one QR code on for example, a beer mug, it gives a complete life journey of that beer mug that you're holding in your hand, like how many times it's been used, how much single-use plastic that particular packaging has saved so far, how much carbon footprint it's saved so far.
Okay, so it's the story there. So essentially, kind of what you're saying, I'm trying to kind of work out what's the bit that isn't copyable, if you like. So you're not a packaging manufacturer. You're putting a QR code on, or or a tag, fantastic. But you're actually kind of selling the washing service and the story that sits behind it, really, on it, as far as I can see, in terms of they click on the QR code. Sorry, they scan the QR code. That then tells you the journey, and you kind of feel good about it. but then there's also the actual service of washing and reprocessing that sits behind it.
And also, like, for example, Derby County Football Club, we help them, connect their sponsors to the fans and, people attending there. So you can customize message. It's also a marketing platform. Yeah. And you can reward them, increase their drink and food sale and so on. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, I guess it's an interesting one. Obviously, kind of ESG is the top of a lot of companies' agenda. This presumably will provide them with some hard data that they can use in their, whether it be kind of scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emission kind of calculations, all that type of stuff.
This fits more into scope 3 of, because it's packaging moving outside, so we give them the full data. So
interesting model. Maybe not one for today, but the charging structure would be kind of interest as to how much you charge, whether you charge enough, etc., all those sorts of things. But that's probably not one for today. Well done.
Thanks, Ray. That just leaves Jim.
Thank you. Can I just confirm, Andy, was the financials, was it 3 million in year 5?
Yeah, 2.5 million in year 5. We did it with a net profit of 1.25 million, 2.25 million gross, 1.5 million EBITDA.
Okay. I mean, I think fundamentally, you're massively undercutting the potential of this business. I spent quite a bit of time working on this in the craft beer sector, and it is absolutely huge. And you've got quite a sticky product here because it can be embedded in the kind of the printing process when the assets are being created. So you're embedded in the customer then. You've actually got two businesses because you've got the tech part and the logistics part. I would want to understand in more detail how much capital you're going to need to raise to scale the business, because I think you've got two very different capital requirements here. The tech's going to consume quite a bit of cash, and so is the logistics part of it as well. But that makes it more sticky, more attractive in the long run. So what do you think of what's the biggest block you've got in the next 12 months, really, to kind of get through to the next phase? Because I know you've got some quite interesting contracts coming on board. And logistically, that was one of the hardest challenges, trying to take on a few big clients. So what are the biggest things you're gonna come against?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think number one certainly will be we've got to keep developing our product. So the agnostic and the engagement platform is key. I suppose if I use the Amazon example, they use 2,500 coffee cups on free vend each day out of the EMA at Kegworth. It's a solution that we're providing. But to get hearts and minds on it, they've got to engage with their teams. And that's part of what the agnostic product is. So it's definitely onward development. It's getting more people into the team because, like you said, there's a logistics element to it. So we're conscious of that. We want to improve that area. But the scaling of it is there isn't really a top limit to what we can do with this. It's about now driving forward with investment and the right team to take on this product. And we, as I say, when we did our initial calculations, yeah, you're quite right. Yesterday was a game changer again, because that's the sort of volume of contracts you can get, and that's the sort of values that come in very quickly.
Thanks, Jim. And that's it. That's the 5 pitches. Well done. Obviously, Vish and Andy, well done to everyone else. So what's happening now? I'm going to go into a breakout room with the 5 judges. They are going to determine which of these 5 startups should benefit from the 150k SFA investment opportunity. And I stress opportunity. There's lots of due diligence and caveats all over that. But whilst we're in that breakout room, you'll be joined by Neil from Tuck, who was on our, I think, 3rd accelerator. He's going to spend about 10 to 15 minutes just talking about their recent journey. They've raised a load of money. And we also have a poll. So the audience gets to pick, you folks can pick, who do you think is your favorite? So just a bit of fun. And I think I made a hash of the 5 companies that didn't pitch today. So just Landscope, Building Resilience in Children, Gobby, Parcels Here, and Table and Kin. These are the 5 that couldn't be with us. Well, I think they're all in the audience, but didn't get to pitch today. But well done, and thank you to them. So Manish, if you could put me in a breakout room with the 5 investors, please. I know Neil's on the call. Neil, are you with us?
I am with you. I'm here.
Great to see you. Yeah. So I'll just set this bit up whilst we're going to the breakout room. We will be 10-ish minutes, but when I met Drew the other day, he told me about the amazing journey that the investor trips down to London, and yeah, just everything you've been up to. If as much as you can cram into 10 minutes, that'd be amazing. Thank you.
Not to worry, not to worry. Hello, how is everyone? How was the 5 startups? How did you find the pitch, and how did you find the whole process?
I think we need like 5 cans of deodorant over here.
Yeah, I'm gonna tuck myself away in the corner, man. But let's see.
I remember we went through the same journey a few years ago, and it was in the midst of COVID, and it was your first ever pitch, and it was like, it is very scary when you first do it, but the more and more you guys continue to do it, the better you'll become at it. It's just a practicing process, and keep repeating it over and over to yourself in the mirror, because that's what's going to help you build your strengths and when you do next pitch. So no, I'm glad. I caught the last couple of pitches, which I thought were fantastic. So all the best to everyone on the call. Just as per introduction, I'm Neil, one of the co-founders at Tuck. Tuck is actually a startup based out of Leicester. What we do is we provide consumers with cashback rewards powered through open banking. So essentially how the product actually works is consumer downloads the app. Once they've downloaded the application, they can connect any of their bank cards to the application. We've partnered with over 250 banks, so you can connect your debit or credit account all the way from your high street banks such as Barclays, HSBC or Lloyds, all the way through to your neo banks such as Revolut, Monzo or Starling. Once that card is connected, you can very simply visit any of the partners that we work with. We work with now over 200 partners, from independent businesses all the way through to now the grocers and McDonald's and Greggs and a number of different partners. You visit any of those stores, you place your order, you tap your card as you normally would. You don't have to show them anything, you don't have to do anything. But as soon as you tap your card, within 24 hours, you'll be rewarded with the percentage of cashback that brand is offering at the time of purchase. So if you go into Tesco, you do a £100 food shop, within 24 hours, you automatically be rewarded with a few quid back for going there. The actual platform's benefit is actually the data analytics and some of the stuff that we're doing in the background to try and provide brands with additional marketing tools and retargeting efforts to try and get customers into their store. Like I said, we started the journey back in 2021. We officially launched. It's just been over 2 years. And we've had decent growth. We're live now in 4 locations. We have over 200 business partners on the platform, close now to 40,000 users, and I guess been through the journey, which I guess a lot of you are now going to go through. But I don't want to talk too much about Tuck. I think I want to keep this talk around like very open, very question driven, because I know that it can be quite daunting starting a startup, not knowing where to start, not knowing what you need to do, what's next. If you do raise investment, what do you do with that money? So I'd like to keep it quite open. So if anyone has got any questions around sort of our journey, any advice that they'd like, or any specific areas which they feel that they're struggling with in their current startup, then feel free to come on mute and shout, and I'd be more than happy to help out.
Hi, Neil. Did you know you wanted to go for funding, or was that always the route?
For us, it was always the route. And I guess that was purely because it helped us get the initial prototype, the initial product, and allow us to get into market. Sometimes startups don't require it because a lot of startups potentially go down the route where they're generating revenue quite quickly. They have contracts. And I think the last startup that was pitching today said they've got the £500,000 contract already signed. So for them, maybe funding may not be a route that they want to explore after a few conversations. But I guess it all just depends on your business model, how quickly you guys can generate revenue and how quickly you want to grow. One piece of advice that I would give is really try and focus on the revenue side, because the markets have shifted. Back when we raised our first round of investment, it was all about growth, raise money, plow that into marketing, plow that into developing your product and grow, and then go out and raise again. Times have now changed. So I would always consider the funding route if you think it's right for you, but always try and in the back of your mind, think about revenue and how can you reinvest some of the funds that you have through a revenue perspective back into your business and really grow without having the pressure of funding.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, Neil, I watched your pitch on YouTube on a replay actually from your demo day, and I thought, yeah, your pitch was awesome. It was, I remember it just like going around the room, if I remember it correctly. Yeah. So sorry. Yeah. So the question is, So you guys have raised several times. How many raises have you actually done completed so far?
We've been through 2 fundraising rounds. We've raised close to 1 million now across both rounds.
Oh wow, okay. And is that all through angel investment, or did you go start at angels and then move to venture?
Great question. So the first round that we did was all through angels. The second round, which we closed at the back end of Q1 this year, was predominantly angels, but we did get a venture check from a venture capital based out of London called Augmentum, and they got involved in the round.
And have you experienced like a big difference between the two? Because I imagine there is a lot. Can you say?
To be honest with you, like, a lot of people ask me this, and not even just from the venture perspective. There's this common misconception that venture becomes a bit of a nightmare and you're starting to deal with people who just have the best interest of growth and not actually your organization. We've been very fortunate in that journey where actually no one from a venture or an angel perspective has really bugged us. They've just allowed us to really focus on growing the business and ensuring that we're doing what we can to make sure that our numbers are improving on a month-by-month basis. I guess the key thing is, if any of you guys do go through the fundraising journey, is to ensure that you build that trust with your investors really early. Ensure that they're in a position where they know you're doing what's best for the organization, and I guess best for their returns, because that's essentially what they're investing in, right? There is an investment when they expect to see returns. So we do things like monthly reports, quarterly updates, all of that stuff. So I guess that's probably the reason why venture and angel, both sides of the spectrum, haven't really disturbed us in our journey.
Surely prepared for it, yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, but one last question, if you can. If you could tell yourself, your 2021 version of yourself, give some advice, what would you say?
Couple of things. So one of the things I would say is that if you are doing that first round of investment, do not think that you can do it with a very small amount of money. So if you can have the ability to raise more early on, and you feel that your organization, your pitch is in a position to do that, then do it. Because times are only getting tougher to try and raise investment. And as your rounds continue, there's more scrutiny. What's going on with these numbers? What's happened to these numbers? What's happened to these numbers? Early on, you're almost pitching on a pitch. You're almost getting investment on the back of a pitch deck or someone believing in you and what your vision is. So if you can try and raise that little bit more, try and do that, because that will give you a bit more leeway. The second thing I'd say is try and focus on revenue. Probably one of the things that we didn't do early on was focus on revenue. And we were almost in that rut where it was about, cool, let's just plow money into trying to grow, and let's try and show good metrics on the back of growth and user downloads and businesses joining the platform. That's all great. And it was probably great 18, 24 months ago. But now when you do try to raise investment, especially down the venture route, people do care about revenue. And it's like, can this become a sustainable business, as opposed to a business that's just putting money in and just getting the rewards on the back of investment and then plowing that in different areas of the business. And the last thing, actually, one more point, hire smart. That's the last thing. Like, we've had our fair share of not great hires, to put it in a nice way, but hire really smart. We tried to be quite shrewd early on, and it was like, cool, let's try and hire students, let's try and hire interns, and let's try and do this on a budget. But one of the things that we did learn is that it's great, and it's great if you can give those students an intern a fantastic support structure when they do come, if they do have a short-term internship with you guys, but don't depend on them to be the ones that's going to drive your growth, because all that's going to do is slow you down. So if I look back at our last 2 years, I wish we'd probably hired a bit more experienced, and that would have probably helped us across different areas of the business.
Neil, it's Manish here, Leicester Startups. I had a quick question. A lot of the startups that on this particular cohort, actually, I guess a lot of startups generally, are trying to introduce a product which are almost changing consumer habits or changing the way someone does things. And Tuck is that, you go to a cafe or whatever, and you have to do one extra thing potentially that you wouldn't necessarily do. And that might go for baby food, it might go for the construction guys. There's a few on this particular cohort. How do you find doing that, getting your ultimate customer to do things that they wouldn't normally do? And you guys do all sorts of outrageous things, sometimes marketing wise, to get your word out there. But how do you find the adoption of technology and your product?
It's a great question. When you do work in the consumer world, you're constantly trying to battle that, right? How can I get this group of people to repeat order, use the platform, or whatever it is that you're trying to build? My biggest piece of advice is double down on that audience that you really want to target. When we first launched our product, we thought, cool, cashback, give people money. Students are going to be all over this. We're in Leicester. There's 3 or 4 universities. There's all these colleges. They're going to be our audience. Realized after plowing some money into doing university freshers fairs and doing a number of university related activities that actually they're not the guys that tend to stick around and drive lifetime value into the product. So my biggest advice there is actually understand like who's your consumer, and then double down on that consumer and really try to speak to them. That will tell you, okay, is this the type of person that I should be targeting? Is this the person that's going to drive growth to my platform? And how have you essentially changed their behavior on a day-to-day basis? Because that strong group of people, whether that's 5, 10, 15, 50, 100 people, whatever it is, they'll tell you the direction that your product should be going based on their experiences. That will allow you to then change, I guess, other customers' behaviors within that demographic, within that geography, based on what you're being told by, I guess, your super users and your early adopters. Probably something we didn't do as well as we could have early on, spoke to our users in much extent. Now we do it religiously. I went to Moss Bros this afternoon to return something, and I had the guy that was working there, the sales assistant, saw my lanyard and he was like, whoa, you're Tuck. I use you guys every single day. And it was really nice because for 5-10 minutes, I got to have a conversation with him, and he was one of our, I guess, super users. So if you can be in an opportunity to meet one of your users, maybe take them out for coffee, speak to them, that will really help you understand how you can be then adjusting the lifestyle of, or the, I guess, daily rituals of other people outside of that super adopted user base. The thing I would say, right, is don't be afraid to reach out for help, like in the journey. Like our journey has been like this, and we're nowhere near where we need to be. Like, yeah, we've had a good couple of years, I would say, and we've had a decent start to our startup journey, and we're always looking to grow, and we have strong plans for the next couple of years. But don't be afraid to ask for help, and whether that is from investors, if you do happen to get investment, reach out to your investors, speak to them, and tell them some of your concerns. Because they'll put you in the right direction. A lot of these investors that do tend to get involved, they tend to invest in a number of different startups. So one of our investors, actually Sam, who was on your panel today, Sam's actually invested twice in us across both rounds. And when we do have problems, we actually approach Sam and we speak to Sam and say, look, these are some of the problems that we envision or that are currently happening within the organization. And because she's invested in, I think now 10, 15, 20 startups, she's able to take some of the experiences that some of the other startups are going through and then provide it back to us. So that's worked really well for us. The other thing that's worked really well is actually speaking to other founders. Myself and Dhruv, we're quite vocal on LinkedIn, and we have quite a strong now founder community who we speak to, not on a daily basis, but I'd say on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. And we speak to them about a number of our problems. Cool, guys, how did you do this? Or how did you manage to sort this out? Or how did you get this client over the line? And that will make a big difference. So don't be afraid to ask for help or reach out for help from, I guess, anyone within the community, because that's what everyone's here for. Whatever you guys are potentially going through at the moment, I'm sure someone on this call, if they have their own startup, is going through exactly the same thing. So double power, brain power will put you guys in the right direction.
Neil, I have a question for you regarding your marketing channels. I really like Manish's question because very similar to you, it's such an innovative product, but at the same time, it's a part of someone's everyday life. So you have to find a way to slot yourself in. And we're very much the same. Everyone's buying baby food, but instead of going down the baby food aisle, we want you to just jump online and let us do the delivery and the hard work for you. So what marketing channel worked best for you guys when it comes to building that brand, loyalty and fostering that relationship?
Great question. So early days, we did a lot of guerrilla marketing. So if you actually go through my and Dhruv's LinkedIn, you'll see that we used to send people out on the streets and we used to do viral stuff, holding signs, putting funny outfits on, because that was all to try and build up the awareness across the city. Like, oh, cool, what is that? I keep seeing that thing. And that's how we initially did the efforts. Now a lot of our actual marketing acquisitions gone through social, because we've started developing a bit of awareness across the city. So when people do see our ads and our sponsored stuff on social media, they already recognize themselves, and they already familiarize themselves with the brand, which makes a big difference. But a lot of this will be like trial and error for you guys. Like, it could be really smart partnerships. Like, who else is selling other baby products? If it's not food, who else is selling other baby cots? Is there a way that you could try and tie something up with those guys that go, okay, by the way, we have a recommended supplier that could do X, Y, Z for you, which works really well across your type of industry. And that will
Based in Leicester.
Yeah, we are. We've got an office in the city centre, near the cathedral. So yeah, if
I'd love
anyone
to have a one-to-one after a time that you're free. You know, you said we can reach out.
for sure. No, you're
Maybe
always
there's someone that you could introduce us to, because obviously, you know, in retail, I'm sure you have many connections in that sense.
Yeah, 100%. Always happy to help out. If anyone wants to come and arrange a coffee, then yeah, we can definitely go through some ideas and then we can talk you through some of the things that may or may not have worked well for us. But don't. What we did early days was we invested some money into social and we thought, okay, this doesn't work. And then we just parked it and we didn't do it for like 18 months. And we were like, yeah, it doesn't work. Now we've done it again, realized that actually there was better ways of doing social, the type of content that we're trying to create, a number of different things. Hey, Manish, I think I'm back. I don't know if you guys can... I think my internet dropped. I don't know how much of that you caught, Jonah, but the last bit I was going to say is, like, don't give up on a marketing acquisition channel until you think you've done it properly. And if you need to reach out for help to do that, then reach out for help, because we plowed money into social, hoping that, okay, this thing would work. Didn't see great success. And then we just parked it for 18 months and we're like, yeah, social is not the route. Now we've decided, okay, cool, let's put some money into social. We've tweaked the way that we do our ads. We've created a lot of video content. We've tried to create a story. And that's helped massively. So don't give up on a potential marketing channel in a short space of time, thinking that that's not the route for you.
Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I think in our case, it's just constantly testing. We've had a lot of success organically, so we're really excited to see what a little bit of paid, campaigns, ads, guerrilla marketing can also get us. So yeah, would love to run some ideas with you guys, and yeah, we'll have a call at a different time if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's completely fine. That's completely fine. Nick, to answer your question, are we live in Nottingham? Yes, we are live in Nottingham. We're live in Leicester. We're live in Loughborough, and we're due to go live in Birmingham Q1 of 2024. In Nottingham, we have 50 vendors, I think, now on the platform, as well as all the supermarkets. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
Thanks very much.
No problem. But yeah, and don't be hard on yourself. That's the last piece of advice I'd give. Like, early days, Dhruv and myself were so hard on ourselves if something didn't go right, and it was like, oh my god, the world is going to end. But don't approach it in that way. And I know that's easier said than done, but try to give yourself the breathing space. You're still learning. You're at a very early stage in your organization and creating this company that one day you hope becomes this $1 billion dream, right? So don't give up and don't be hard on yourself if things don't work, because that's going to happen. That's going to happen even if you become $100 million business. So that's never going to end. So just keep going and keep plowing at what you're doing.
Neil, can I ask you a question?
Oh, go for it.
Do you have any advice on bringing on board a co-founder or a CTO, or someone with another high up position in the company?
It's a really good question. Luckily, I didn't have to go through like that route, because my co-founder is also my third cousin. So we've grown up together and have known each other since we were kids. But my advice is, if you can find a co-founder, then do it, because it makes your life so much easier. Because whatever pains, struggles, successes, challenges, whatever it is, you're able to ride it through with that person, because they have the vested interest and they're not the same as just a normal person that's on your payroll. So they do have that full understanding. In terms of looking for a co-founder, I think the biggest piece of advice that I'd give is trust, just based on like other founders that I know that have now brought in a co-founder. You've just got to truly try and trust that person, get them to believe in the vision that you're trying to build, whatever you're trying to build. And if they believe in that and they're passionate about that, then then give them the shot. There's also like stuff that you can have in place in a contractual perspective, such as cliffs, vesting periods, and a number of different things in order to make sure that you don't just give a co-founder equity and then suddenly you realize that, oh my God, they're not the person that I thought they were. So there is a number of things that you can have in place to ensure that you're covered from your perspective, and that they're performing to what you guys have originally spoke about when you first decided to go work together.
Brilliant. Thank you. It's really, really useful advice.
Right, we're back. Sorry, that was tough, but we have a winner. Thanks for hanging on, folks. Sorry we've run over on time. I'll get straight to it because we've run out of time. So yeah, I won't bother going for fifth, fourth, third, second. I will just say the winner is MotiMe, Katie. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much, Renshaw.
Yeah. So Neil, thanks. I can see you're on the call. Thank you for your talk. I'm sure it was good. So what I'll do, Katie, is connect you up with Ed, who's still on the call, I think.
Still here. Well done, Katie, but well done, everyone. Great jobs.
Great. Well, we've run over way too many people to thank. Of course, the 5 judges and everyone else that's contributed to the accelerator. Of course. So there was a tie between MotiMe and Circuleo in the audience poll. That's interesting. Right. Well, it's been emotional over the last 12 weeks. I've missed it. It's going to be weird now because everything drops off and goes back to normal. But yeah, I wish everyone a great weekend, a great Christmas, of course, and see you all in the new year.